Hi and welcome to BOWWE. In this tutorial, I'll be showing you how to create a full website page from start to finish using our amazing tool. Feel free to follow along. Without any further ado, let's jump right in. We're going to start by opening the dashboard and creating a brand new project. We'll choose a fitting name and a main language for our site. We will choose building from scratch to show you the entire process, but feel free to use our beautiful templates. At the start, we'll be presented with a blank canvas, but we're aiming to create a modern marketing page with a black and white aesthetic. We'll start by discussing the left side tools. The first one is the widget library. Here we have all the necessary tools to build your project. Next one is the pages menu where you can manage your subpages and navigation linking. The third one is the blog posts menu, where you can create subpages integrated with blog widgets. The fourth one with the paintbrush is the global styles, which are used to store your website's main styles. Global styles are a great place to start the editing. We'll adjust the main colors that we're going to be using throughout our project. We can change it with the color picker or by writing down the exact color value. We'll go ahead and fill in the rest of the colors. Next, we'll scroll down to the heading section. By styling those text elements here, every time we drop them in our project, they will be already styled in the same way. Open the widget styles where you can change the size and color of our text to one of those we just created. You can also change the font of the text to one of many in our library, or you can upload new ones to the project via either Google Fonts integration or custom license upload. We will select inner font and after that adjust the rest of the necessary text with different font sizes that we will be using in the project. I want the main color of the project to be black, so we can select the page area container and click the widget styles represented by the white paintbrush. Here we can change the looks of any widget in the project. For this canvas, we only need to change its background color to our main black color. Next up, we are going to start building our first section, which will be located in the navbar. Both navbar and footer are so-called common regions, which means any change made in those areas will be the same on other subpages. That way, you can make just one menu for your entire website, as we are about to do now. Let's select the navigation widget in the widget library and select the pre-made layout with centered links. Simply click the layout you want and click again in the place you want it to be dropped. As for now, the navigation only shows the main page, so in order to change that, we need to go to the page menu in the left panel. We can add a new subpage which we can name Contact. Later, we'll be able to add a ready-made contact form into that page, but let's not get ahead of ourselves. Other types of navigation elements are links that are not subpages, but can be used as a redirection to existing section on your page. For example, we can name a section About Us and the address of the link to #AboutUs. When we present the same link name in the section settings, the link in our menu will scroll down to that section. I know it might be a lot, but if you need a more in-depth tutorial on a specific topic mentioned in this video, be sure to visit our tutorial page. Back in navigation, we can change the order of links by dragging them and moving the main page to standalone pages so it doesn't show in the menu. That's what the logo is for. Now we can simply change the styles of the text and the distances between elements using margins in the Position tab. Now let's select the navigation element. We can do this by finding the correct container or selecting a part of that widget and navigating the hierarchy tree at the bottom of the creator. In the navigation styles, we can enable the active state. Any changes here will be applied to the link that has been clicked. To show the user which subpage has been clicked, we'll simply change the color of the text to bright orange. Now, for something similar, we can select a single menu item and open the hover state. This will apply style whenever the user hovers over the element with their mouse cursor to make it look more attractive. Looks good, but we can improve it by adding a transition to the color change. We'll select the transition type to ease in out and change the duration to half a second. Now this looks much better. We can move now to making a hero banner for our page. We'll select an area widget as our container. Choose a simple block layout and add it into the body region. This will automatically create a section which will be our main building block separating content. Opening section settings, represented by the green cogwheel, will open additional widget functions. Here we can change the size of the container and add a name for links. For now, let's leave it adjusted to grid. Next, we will select a simple header widget, choose a basic layout, and drop it into the area. Open widget settings and change it to H1, for this will be our main headline. As you can see, it already has the styles we set earlier in Global Styles. We can edit the text content and write our title. We can also select a part of the text and open nested styles to change the color of the selected part. For the next part, we want to add more elements to that container. Let's select a text widget and a simple layout. Now, hovering over the title shows a green bar depending on which side you are the closest. We want to drop the text below the title, so we hover over the lower part of the text and click to drop it inside the same area. We can edit the text content just as we did it before. To make it more aligned with the title, we can click the text and drag it by the green square to change its size. But I'm still not satisfied with how close those texts are to each other, so we're going to create some distance by moving the top orange square of the text widget to increase the margin. Next, we're going to drop a horizontal area below that text. This will help us later to place elements next to each other. For this container, we're going to use a button widget. In button settings, we can change the displayed text and change the link type. For this example, to an external website. Now for the button styles. We can change all the styles as before, like text color, to match our design. For buttons specifically, we can change the padding. Both padding and margin can be used to create distance, but padding creates distance inside the element, while margin creates distance outside that element relative to other widgets. For now, we can add a margin to the right for our future second button. For buttons, we can also change the borders like width, radius, or in this case, color. To add more flair, we can switch on a shadow effect and make it more into a neon highlight. Just change the color to this bright orange and crank up the blur. For the hover effect on the button, we're going to make it full orange, so we just open the hover state and styles and change the color. Don't forget to change the transition for more smooth animation. To incentivize users to click the button, we can add a little arrow inside. Open button settings again and enable the icon set to the right. Then click on the icon area and upload one from our integrated library. We'll go with this simple arrow. Now we can adjust its size to make it a bit smaller, and we can change the left margin to create some distance from the text. add a margin to the container of the button so it looks better. Now, we need to add a picture to the background. Select the section, go to the styles, and enable the picture. A file manager will open up where you can upload pictures from your personal computer. Click Upload File and choose the image files that you need. We can then select the image and change its display type to cover so it matches with the width of the section. There isn't a lot of space for our model, so we'll move the green square of the section down to increase the height. Keep in mind that the containers change sizes to match the amount of widgets we throw inside, but since the picture here is not as a widget but as a decoration, we have to adapt. Now we want to center the content in that space, so we select the section content container, as this is where widgets are nicely grouped, and in position styles we change the display to flex, which will give us more flexibility in organizing content placement. Set direction to vertical and justify content to center. Unfortunately, I'm not a fan of how the text goes over our model here. We need more space. If we go to section settings and switch to full page width, we'll have more space, but now the content touches the sides of the screen, and it doesn't look nice. So let's switch back to grid and change the size of that grid. In the middle of the top bar, select the three dots. Here you can make global adjustments to your project grid. We'll set the width to 1520 pixels for an optimal viewing experience, and also add 40 pixels to a horizontal padding, so smaller screens won't have content touching the sides. Feel free to adjust some elements as the project changes. This claim can be shortened as before with squares, but we can also have more control over the values when going into position styles and changing the maximum width to a set value instead of current width. That way on devices smaller than this value, the text will retain its full width. We can go ahead and add another button to that area we set earlier. The process will have a lot of similarities to how we made the first button, only this one will have a transparent background. We will use smaller paddings to fit the clickable area closer to the text. We will also change the margins on left and right from auto to 0 pixels in order to move the button from center to the left. Then we'll change the text color to orange and hover to white. Lastly, the transition will be set to half a second. In the settings, we can make it link to an existing subpage or to a section of an existing subpage. We'll go with the latter and provide the name of the section to which we want it to scroll down. This section does not yet exist, so we'll have to remember it later. Lastly, we want to upload an icon from our personal collection and adjust its size. If you plan on having multiple language versions of your website, it would be best to add a language selector widget into the navbar where the menu is. We want to have the menu in a horizontal container so we can place the language selector next to it, but the container is by default vertical. So let's wrap it up. Use a right mouse click on the columns of the navigation and go to Wrap Widget In. Select Horizontal Container. And now the navigation column is in a new area widget. We can use it further by adding another container to later add a button to the navbar. Inside that container, we can drop a language selector widget. The first layout will suit us best. We open widget settings and change the base look to only show flags. Please note that additional languages as well as automatic translations are available only to paid plans. Lastly, we'll add another contact button, but this one will redirect to the existing contact subpage. The process of styling is pretty much the same. When all is done, feel free to adjust the distances between elements to achieve the best look that you are looking for. The hero banner is done, but that's just the beginning. We'll create another section and add some counters with our accomplishments. Locate the green plus sign at the border of your section and click on Add to Body. Then locate the section and add an empty section. Now we want the section to have a white background color to change the style dynamic, so open section styles and change the background color to one of the global styles. Now for this container, we're going to use Columns widget. This will help us organize multiple elements on the page at once. Additionally, this widget will change its direction on the mobile devices automatically. We go to the widgets and pick columns. Let's select the layout with 3 columns. Inside one of them, we're going to add a simple block area to help us speed up the page building. And now the counter widget. We select the base one and drop it in the area. Starting with the settings, we can write the number we want to count to, and for this one, we want 10 years of experience. We'll set the animation duration to half a second, and check the Trigger Animation Once box, so it would only animate once per session. After that, we can open styles and change font size and the color. Let's add a text below to say, Years of Experience. Change the color of the text and align it to the center. Now that we have our simple element made, we can simply copy and paste it to other columns. Select the area, use a right mouse click and choose Copy, or press Ctrl-C or Command-C on your keyboard. Then you can paste it with a right mouse click and paste, or similarly Ctrl-V or Command-V. Now we can change the values of the counters, change the duration of the animation to match bigger numbers, and of course change the text below. To make this section look nicer, we can add some paddings in the section. Now we want to add some visual flair to make the transition between black and white sections more interesting. We'll add a full width section, which means without the grid. We need the content to take the full width of the page. Next, we'll change the background color to white and add an image widget. By pressing the Add Image button, we open the File Manager and can select the graphic, designed specifically to look like a paper tear. Decorations like that can dramatically improve users' engagement. Let's add another section, but this time we can use pre-made element from our library. Add a new section, and at the top we can select a quick layout. These are layouts most commonly used as starting blocks to build upon. But for this one, we're going to go to Columns and choose Community Widgets. These are complex and beautifully styled elements, created by our fantastic community to help you build your project faster and easier. Choosing any widget gives you access to different layouts and community widgets. All of them are pre-styled for all resolutions and are fully customizable so you can match it to your project. We will now adjust a few key styles of this element, like text colors and padding, so it would match with the project design. For our next section, we'll switch back to black background so we can copy the tearaway section and paste it to Body. Then we simply upload a different graphic and another transition is done. Let's create a section depicting our values. Add a section, drop a horizontal area, and inside drop a header widget, and then a text widget. We'll change the display styles of that area to center elements inside and change the width of the text to match our vision. Now, we want to drop a vertical area to create gaps between elements. We select the area, but when I want to drop it down, it says it's going to be dropped inside that area from before, and I want it to be placed below, not to the right. Pro tip: we can change the designated area. When hovering over a container related to the container you wish to add your widget to, you can use the hierarchy tree at the bottom of the creator to change the designation. Simply press the left key on the keyboard to move to its parent, and now you can drop the widget into section content. This little trick can be quite useful sometimes. Now, let's add 3 columns to that new area. In the settings, we'll change the ratios 2 to 5 to 5. The standard grid size of columns is based on the number 12, which translates to full width. Next, we'll add a simple text in the first column to be a number of our values. In the second column, we'll add a header widget. Set it to H3 to uphold SEO standards of headline building, and then we adjust the styles. For the last column, we'll add a text with the description to each point. Let's add some distance between the containers. Next, we want to add some graphical divider, so we select a simple column and add styles to the bottom border. We're only going to do this for columns 2 and 3. For the third column, we can create a little distance with padding since it's the largest element compared to other columns. Now we can simply copy the columns and paste them in the vertical area. Select styles of that area and scroll down in the Position tab. Thanks to this area's flex display, we can add a row gap between elements, so we don't have to separate them with margins individually. This can really save you time, especially when working with more elements. We'll close up this value section by creating padding distance inside. After styling our header in the new section, we can select the slider widget. In the settings, we can go ahead and delete the placeholder pictures and add 2 empty slides. Adjust the time of the interval, choose the preferred slide indicator, and upload prepared arrows. Inside the content, we'll add columns. In their settings, we'll switch ratios to units because we want to create subtle gaps between the elements. Change the sizes of columns and change the column alignment to between because this will stretch them to full width with the same gaps between. Let's drop a vertical area inside a column to be our opinion template. Inside, we'll add an icon. We can use either one from the library or a prepared SVG file. As always, adjust the size and change the position from default center to left side. Add a simple quote of our client. Below that, add an area to fit 2 texts side by side, one for the name and the other for their role. Now I'm going to copy and paste it to the right for a little demonstration of more advanced tools. These are not required for website building, but they make managing bigger projects much easier. We select the area, go to Styles, and open Selector mode. Here we can add a class. All the styles we made before were assigned to the specific widget, but this method allows us to add styles to the class name and share it between multiple widgets. We'll call our class .ReviewArea and add it to that area. Now we can style it like we did previously, adding row gap, paddings, background color, and border radius. The values chosen for each style boil down to personal preference. The main factor here is to match stylistically with the rest of the project. Now that we have our styles, we can go to our second area, open selectors, and choose the same class to add it to that area. All of the styles we just created have been immediately applied to that widget as well. Since the class is now a part of the widget, we can simply copy the widget and paste it with this class. What's great is that you can style all of those elements at the same time, saving you a lot of work. You have to remember to have the right class enabled in the selector in order to do this. You can still style those elements individually in basic mode, but that will override the class style, so keep that in mind. Now that we have our first slide ready, we can copy it whole and paste it to another slide, adding more reviews later. Let's make some slight adjustments to our slider. After that, we want to modify the slider arrows. We can change their placement in the slider to the top right corner and change the size and the color. The arrows are positioned differently to most elements. The absolute positioning allows for free movement around the container, but it won't influence other elements like with standard relative position. The absolute is best used for decorations with reserved space. We will change the size and color of those arrows to match the overall design. All that is left is to adjust the height of the slider. We can either provide a set value or we can set it to automatic and have it adjust to the size of the content. As per usual, don't forget to create some distances. We copy the tearaway section divider, and we move on to make a portfolio. We'll add a full width section. For this one would look great, stretching to the sides of the project. We add a gallery widget for our pictures and we select this nice layout. We can either make new images using our AI image generator, or we can add our own pictures through the settings. Get rid of all the placeholders and click Add Image. To make it more organized, we can create a folder for the pictures used only in this section and upload them from our computer. Select all of them and add them to the gallery. You can also change effects like grayscale or change the distance between each picture. Our next section will be dedicated to our team. We want to create multiple elements depicting our members and sharing their social media presence. We'll start with creating columns. In the settings, we can change the amount of columns to 8 and then change their sizes so they would cover 2 rows instead of 1. Change the column alignment to spaces between so they would fill the width of the container. Add a vertical gap so the rows can have some distance. For this example, let's go with 100 pixels. We create a structure for our element built with an area, an image, and 2 texts. We'll add the name of our employee, their role in the agency, and lastly, their picture. We can add styles on classes because we'll have a lot of copies of that element. We'll enable a mask in the image settings to create a container inside the picture. Here we can drop a social media widget where we can select the services we want with space for dedicated links. Obviously, a widget covering the photo is a bad idea, so we have to move it. But this gives me an idea for a fun little animation we can make. Let's make it so hovering over the area would reveal the socials. We'll need to add classes to three elements: the area container, the image mask, and the social widget. We'll call them .OurTeamContainer, .OurTeamMask, and .OurTeamSocials, respectively. Now we can style the social widget with transparent background and change the mask to flex end so the socials are at the bottom of the picture. We can also add a semi-transparent gradient to that mask to emphasize the hover motion. Don't forget to add transition duration for both of those elements. What we've got is how we want it to appear when we hover the mouse over it, but first we need to hide those elements and then we need to trigger them. We go back to the social class and change the transformation translation to move it outside of the mask view, let's say 170 pixels down. Now we need to trigger the social widget when the user hovers over the entire area. We open the class of the area and right after its name we write :hover. After that we write space and the class name of the social widget, which is .OurTeamSocials. This little formula allows us to apply styles to the social widget whenever there is a mouse cursor hovering over the member area. Now we change the transform translation back to 0 pixels, and the social widget is getting back in its place on hover. We just need to do a similar thing with the mask. On base class, we turn down the opacity to 0%, and on triggered state, we turn it back to 100%. Awesome! Our animation is working as intended. There are so many advanced tricks you can make with BOWWE, so be sure to check out our other tutorials. Link in the description. We just need to copy, paste, and modify the rest of our team. There are also simpler forms of animations in our creator. If you're interested in adding some motion for people visiting your website, then open styles of the widget you wish to animate and go to the Animations tab. Here we can add different pre-made animations to assign to any widget. For our header, we can go with the fade in. We can change the duration, delay the start of the animation, hide the widget before it starts animating, and play it only once so it doesn't loop. For our claim text, we can go with the slide in. We can change the direction from where the widget will enter, and we can preview how it will look. Adjust the rest as you feel fit. For the buttons area, we'll also pick slide in, but increase the delay so it's more dynamic. It should look a little like this. Going back to our project, it's time to make a contact form section to help you keep in contact with your potential clients. We'll set the maximum width of the container to 60% to make room for a picture. When the container has been set up, we can drop our contact form widget. In the settings, you can change the label and the type of the input line. You can change each input size and add or delete them as well. In the integration, be sure to open additional settings where you can set your email address inbox. You can also enable saving to a CSV file available to download. Next, we want to style the form. We'll start with changing the background in a form field to transparent. All the form fields are connected, so changing one will change all of them. Then we'll disable all borders except for the bottom one, of which we'll change color. Lastly, we'll adjust some paddings and margins. For the button, we'll change the width to fit content so it takes the size of the text inside. Afterwards, adjust the styles as we did before. Now we can add a background picture to our section and make adjustments so everything fits together perfectly. For our last section, we'll create a footer which will house all of the important contact details and a sitemap to further help with navigating the website. For the contact information, we'll start with the simple text widget and provide our phone number. We can select the number part of the text and add a link to it. The link type should, of course, be the telephone number. This button now will redirect to dial-up on mobile devices. Next, we'll add a similar element for an email address. Just change the linking type to email. Lastly, we'll put the address of our company. In the right column, we can drop a sitemap. It will help users navigate the page similarly to the navigation menu on top of the page. All that's left is to make some final stylistic corrections, and we are done. Before we wrap things up, we need to prepare our website for other smaller devices. In the middle of the creator's top bar, we can see 4 selected resolutions: desktop, tablet horizontal, tablet vertical, and phone. Pressing these will emulate that device to show you how the page will look on mobile devices. Right now, there are a number of things wrong with this, and that's completely fine, because we can fix all of this. When you select the device, every style change you make in here will be saved for that device and transported to the smaller devices as well. It's called cascading styles. This means that when I change the text size to smaller on tablet horizontal, that change will also apply to tablet vertical and phone, but it will not change anything on the desktop. That way, we can work our way from the top to adjust some elements, usually making them smaller and changing some distances. For columns, you can also change how you want to display them in settings. And for horizontal containers, you might want to switch direction to vertical, especially on the phones. After we adjust all text sizes, padding, and margins, our website can be safely browsed on every device. Now that our website is finally ready, we can save all our progress and publish our project for everyone to enjoy. We hope this tutorial provided much insight into the process of creating a website using our BOWWE builder. We can't wait for you to create your perfect page. Thank you for watching.